If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know that I love an abandoned railway. If you're not a regular viewer of this channel, hello. Britain has a huge number of railway lines, and used to have many more. Railways are a significant engineering undertaking, so when one disappears, it leaves scars. Here's how you can spot where a railway has been. The most obvious thing to look out for is track. No, really? These are the kinds of insights that keep people coming back to this channel. But seriously, railway track has scrap value, so usually when a line is closed, the rails disappear pretty quickly. However, sometimes the track is embedded into the road surface, and it's not considered worthwhile to get the rails out. Either the rails are tarmacked over, or they're just straight up left there. This is common in goods depots, harbours, industrial settings, and with trams, any situation where the trains have to share the space with road vehicles. After that, the next most obvious thing must be buildings. Most of the railway network was built in the 19th century. If there's one adjective I would use to describe Victorian buildings, it's confident. The buildings put up for the railways were usually substantial and of high quality, so they were often repurposed after the railway closed. Railway companies, at least the big ones, tended to employ the same architect wherever possible, and that can offer you clues. For instance, Alexandra Palace Station was built by the Great Northern Railway, and this building here looks stylistically similar. That indicates that this was also a Great Northern station. In this case, the old Alexandra Palace Station on the Edgware, Highgate and London route. Railways like to be as level as possible. Steel wheels on steel rails offer low friction, which means trains are more energy efficient than road vehicles. But it also means that they aren't so good on slopes, so look for cuttings and embankments. Anywhere where the landscape dips or rises for no apparent reason. If there's a long bank sticking above ground level, there's a solid chance that you're looking at an old railway. Or something boring like an Iron Age fort. Another thing to look for is bridges over nothing, especially if the road has to rise up and over said nothing. Road builders don't like to deviate unless they have a good reason. Less obvious, though, are places where a bridge has been infilled. Bridges need maintenance, so sometimes councils just decide to fill the space under the bridge in. But sometimes, like here, you can still see the parapet, as a kind of pointless wall. If the bridge carries the railway, sometimes it's just considered easier to demolish the bridge altogether. But a bridge is a big and heavy thing, so often the supports remain in place. Here you can see two apparently pointless walls opposite each other. This was my first clue that I was looking at the Palace Gates branch. Land is costly, especially in urban areas, so often an abandoned track bed will be built over. If you're in town, one clue that there was a railway can be that the architecture suddenly changes. This is another bit of the Palace Gates branch, which was lifted in 1966. So you have relatively modern buildings on this one narrow section of land. Allotments are another common use for abandoned railway land because they don't need a lot of space. You can stick an allotment on any odd bit of land. These days I think people are much more conscious of the value of environmentally friendly projects, so something that's quite common is for the trackbed to be turned into parkland, a cycle track or a nature reserve. You might say that it's common to turn it into a common. Look out for a long, narrow park and it's quite likely that you're looking at a railway. Along those lines, so to speak, tunnels sometimes find alternative environmentally friendly uses, like these ones at Highgate that are now artificial bat caves. There are lots and lots of things to keep an eye out for, so next time you're on a walk, take a look around you. It's easier than you might think to track the tracks. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, something a little different, as I like to occasionally do. If you did, please do click the like button, subscribe to see some of those abandoned railways, and click the bell icon to be kept up to date when I release new videos, which is quite often. Thanks as ever to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon for funding these expeditions. You are the embankment to my railway. And I'll see you all again very soon. Cheerio.